Hello everyone. On the 14th of May, Jupiter will be entering into Gemini. So most of us have been waiting for this moment for a long time. And finally, Jupiter is going to enter this sign of intelligence, communication, friendship, commuting, and everything youthful, right? Now, when we talk about Jupiter, we're talking about the higher learning, higher form of Mercury, higher form of intelligence, higher form of communication, of sending out messages. We're talking about healing as well, because Jupiter has the capacity to heal. We're talking about travel. We're talking about relating in a positive way. And now, when this Jupiter gets into Gemini, there will be a lot of things that will form up into stages. And in this video, I'm going to explain those stages to you of what is going to happen. What I say will happen will actually happen, because this is how the planetary alignments would be running out at this time, figuring out this whole year of Jupiter in Gemini. Mind you, it's going to be entering the Gemini sign on Wednesday, and when it comes in on Wednesday, it's going to be coming in at the hora of Jupiter. So it's going to be a phenomenal entrance of Jupiter into Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. Now, when we're talking about the Gemini sign or Mercury in general, we're talking about communication, we're talking about being youthful, we're talking about friendship, the friendships that we have within our relationships and the friendships that we have with our community as a whole. Even in our families, this is the friendship that is formed in the sign of Gemini. Now, when we're talking about Mercury and Jupiter, these planets have a unique relationship, because Jupiter enjoys Mercury, but up until to a certain level. Then it starts to get annoyed, and then it starts to feel crippled by the quickness and the cunning nature of Mercury. And Jupiter being in this house will be bringing in the higher version out of the Mercury or the Gemini sign. So we are expecting that a whole lot of uplifting in communication, positive messages will be sent throughout the world. So the first stage, we are going to have a lot of people searching for answers, searching for love, searching for being complete or feeling complete, feeling like there's something missing. And some people will be searching for liberation from their current situations, or even from this material world. But there will be a lot of seeking, a lot of searching. And then after the searching is done, there will be a breaking down of false egos, a breaking down of destroying what is not working in your life, preparing for what is to come. The last stage that we will see now people starting to rebuild what they had lost, rebuilding what they had destroyed, finding new purpose. So my message today is that you do not give up, and you will definitely not see most people will not see the good results in the first few months of Jupiter. But remember, what I'm telling you is that the final stages of Jupiter, we will be getting renewal, rebirth, rejuvenation, and a lot of people will be saying, I see it now. I see it now. I get it now. I just got that promotion. I just got, that commitment, that marriage. I just got that engagement. But now what's important to remember is that Jupiter will not be staying in Gemini throughout the time, throughout this 1 year period, it will be changing into Cancer sign for some time, and then it will retrograde back into Gemini. So of course, when it gets into the Cancer sign for a few months, and then experience that exaltation, a lot of people will see good results in terms of comfort, in terms of material things, in terms of properties, and a general warmth when it comes to relationship, whereby they feel nurtured, they feel like, oh my gosh, I want to nurture somebody else as well, I want to nurture my family, right? And then it goes back again into Gemini sign, because what is going to be happening now when Jupiter is going into Cancer and going back into Gemini, it is going to show you or give you a preview of what is to come, so that when it goes back to Gemini, you complete every detailed document, information, communication that will help you make sure you obtain and keep whatever is promised in the Cancer sign. So of course, then I will be going into detail of what is going to happen for each ascendant, because it is important that we look at the transit. The message from the planets is not only from our birth chart, but it also comes from their movements every day, because we are aligned with them. Okay, if you're not aligned, then for you it's not going to feel important to look at the transit or to talk about the transit. But then if you're aligned with the planets, you will notice that everything that you do is relating to how they're moving up in the sky. So this is why we do this. And I am, a synastry expert. I am also, obviously focusing more on the predictive astrology, because when we're able to tell what is going to happen, then we're able to prepare, because without preparation, we know that most of the time our plans do not profess into a success. So this is very important that you are here, particularly because the Jupiter will be entering Gemini on a Wednesday. Now, when it comes to days, we do know that Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. So this is not by chance. This is definitely by the design of the planets, that Jupiter is entering the Mercury sign on the day ruled by Mercury, but it will be entering on the aura of Jupiter. So without further ado, let's get into the predictions. Now we need to get into the global wheel of Jupiter in detail, because I would like to really zone in on what is going on, what is going to happen globally, the news that we're going to be reading, what we're going to be seeing from the media being reported everywhere. So I'm going to talk about those things. But before, let's just look at this wheel of Jupiter that I quickly came up with, because I wanted to show the essence of Jupiter in Gemini, and what it like, how it impacts you, your communication, and everything around it. But we're not going to only dwell on Jupiter in Gemini. Yeah, what I'm going to talk about, just shortly, regarding the global impact and the global situation. I will also be looking at it from the planetary placement of, certain, for example, Ketu, Rahu, who are going to enter into into the axis of Leo and Rahu. All right, but let's just quickly look at this wheel of Jupiter in Gemini now. So basically, Jupiter and Mercury have, this relationship that is a bit weird and awkward, as I explained earlier. All right. Now, Mercury is the host of Jupiter. Mercury owns this sign that is going to be hosting Jupiter. What it means then is that Jupiter has to abide by the rules and regulations of Mercury, right? Imagine this important professor who is highly rewarded, highly known, highly respected, coming into the house of a student, into the house of the student, how the situation is going to be. And this professor who's important and highly, acknowledged in their field, highly respected, has to now learn to maneuver around the dorm, like the dorm of a student, like, a small room of a student where there's chaos, where chaos is needed for, the functionality of this house, where flexibility is required for, the process of just having things done, right? So now this professor, with all of this glory and respect, has to take down some of the expectations that he has and do as a Romans, as you do when you are in Roman, when you are in Romania, you do as Romans do, right? It is the same. So the problem then starts because Jupiter, has to lower itself, so to speak, as to be a good person that is hosted, right? So what it means then is that the Jupiterian energy, whichever house it is going to happen in your chart, will have to be lowered down a bit. If you are a too serious person in your normal life, like a Jupiterian person in your normal life, this transit is going to require you to loosen up a bit. You're going to have to learn how to make jokes. You're going to learn how to take jokes. Because remember now, Jupiter, the teacher, the professor, the person who is important in the society and who everybody goes to for advices, is now coming into the house of the student and being at the receiving end of lessons, the receiving end of advices. So this also means that in your relationships, if you were the one who was giving advices all the time, this Jupiter transit is going to teach you now, is going to give you a scenario or a circumstance in your relationship whereby now you have to ask your spouse, my wife, what should I do? Darling, what should I do? I don't know what to do. And the tables will turn because the teacher has come into the house of a student where there's chaos, where there's learning, where there is, flexibility, adaptability without necessarily following one plan, where there's multitasking, taking one project, leaving it halfway, taking another project, leaving it halfway, and all of that. Now, the best thing here is that
Jupiter is coming here with, this wisdom, and will be able to narrow down things using the wisdom in order to have a better solution for all. But as I have mentioned, there will be stages, 3 critical stages, whereby this authoritative image of Jupiter is going to be broken down. We are going to see a lot of leaders, a lot of authoritative figures, even in our relationships, even in the media, publicly. We're going to see many people that we look up to being broken down, being stripped down of their leadership, so to speak, or their upper or higher class in terms of knowledge, whereby now life is going to teach them to be friendly, to talk to people, to be accessible, be a Mercury, be accessible. Mercury is accessible to everyone, is a friend to everyone. So that is going to be a lesson for a whole lot of people who are in the leading role, in the leading sphere, in the upper part of a society. So this will happen, we're going to see it. But the good thing is that when the second stage is finished of breaking down these personalities that are revered, they will be rebuilt again. So the people who lose their role in the society as the go-to person, or the person who's got the most advice, who's got the most counsel, when they lose it in the second stage, they should not worry, because the third stage is going to be here and giving them an opportunity to rebuild again. But everyone should be able to have learned the lessons that this Jupiter in Gemini is coming to teach the teacher. Now the teacher is going to be a student, and the teacher has to learn these things. And it is important for each and every person, obviously depending where this is happening in your chart, that if you fail for the first time, you do it the second time, because the third stage is going to give a whole lot of second chances. So there is going to be a test to see, have you received the lesson? Have you gotten the lesson into your system? If not, then repeat it. Then repeat again. Try again. So we're going to see a whole lot of communication regarding such stories. We're going to see a lot of communication or reporting, so to speak, of people that we respected having a change of life, or mingling with normal people, or just doing normal things. Being a neighbor, just neighborhood stuff of approach, right? So now, when it comes to the ascendants, I will of course try to mention or highlight the key points regarding of what is going to happen in your life. But for this video, it's just going to be the highlights, and then in the monthly predictions, this is where I'm going to go into detail of what is going on, what is going to happen in your life. And with this global wheel of Jupiter that I'm looking at now, I am also obviously including the transits of other planets like Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, because they have just gotten into their new signs, right? Saturn in Pisces, Rahu is going to be joining the Aquarius sign, and Ketu is going to be joining the Leo sign. So now I hope I'm not repeating myself, because I'm recording, because as I say, this is gonna be the theme of the third stage to reach the success when it comes to Jupiter in Gemini. And I am a Gemini, and every time when I make such messages, there's an omen, and the omen here is that I'm recording to be able to have an impact in my speech or in what I say, because the planets send messages in different ways, right? Now with this wheel of Jupiter here, the inside part represents what the Mercury is, so what a Mercury in Gemini is all about, or the Gemini sign, and the outer part, which is obviously holding the lower octave of intelligence, which is Mercury, is Jupiter, what is represented by Jupiter. So there is going to be a merger of these two themes. So we can expect obviously high intelligence here, and those intelligence agencies, they are now going to be working with a lot of information, but they have to find a way to piece it up. Even in your normal life, actually, there is going to be like pieces of information all over the place, and then you have to hone a skill or learn a skill. Gemini, learning a skill, you have to learn a skill of how to collect all of this data, all of this information that is given to you during this 1 year, and make a beautiful project out of it. Learning, remember, Gemini. Skill, remember, Gemini. But now you're using the Jupiterian wisdom to make a beautiful outcome out of all these pieces of information or events or skills or friends. Even your friends, now what your friends say are going to be important, because you may think that you know more than your friends, but right now the friend that you have not been listening to, like the friend that you even didn't care about when they speak, right now in this 1 year, they will have the most impactful lesson that is going to help you develop your authority in our society or in the relationship. So now we're going to have the people that we didn't care about when they speak, their opinions, they didn't matter, or they seem that they didn't matter. We're going to have them now speak out louder. We're going to have them now speak important things that will lead the leaders, that will teach the teachers, that will educate the professors. There is going to be a turnaround of events in how we do things. Watch this. So where will be the most critical point or the most challenging points in this transit, right? I do see that a lot of people who are holding strong belief systems, they're going to have a difficult time to adapt in this transit, and it is those people who are going to feel the second stage the most, as I showed you, the breaking down of things, the destroying of things, the losses that are going to be experienced, the destroying of what is known to prepare for building the new. So anyone who's got a strong belief in whatever, it could be in your relationship, in your love, it could be in your politics, it could be in your materialistic things, or it could be in your spirituality, your religion, whatever you are fixed, you're finding yourself fixed when you're coming to beliefs, then these are the types of people that are going to have a difficult time here, because Gemini, when it comes to Jupiter, is going to say, hey Jupiter, you are the ruler of belief systems, you are the ruler of the law, you are the ruler of religion and all of these things. But right now in this house, we are adaptable, we are flexible, we are chaotic, we're not too serious here, we are learning, we're curious, we touch, we let go, we touch, we let go. We do not stick into one belief system here. So break down your beliefs and try something else, and try this corner here, try that corner here, try that corner here. So of course, naturally, because we're human beings, when we are accustomed to certain ways, to doing things this way, to doing things that way, to following this path and this path and this path, believing this rule, this law, and we are now expected to change all of a sudden, we're going to have difficulties for sure, right? So we're going to see this. We're also going to see a lot of people who are matured naturally, like who just have, that matured vibe, having, a difficulty to, to adapt, because there is this sense of, change that is going to be introduced, or lifestyle that is going to be introduced, and it's going to require a lot of people to loosen up, and some people are definitely going to have a hard time. And again, as always, it could be in your relationship, it could be your work, it could be anything, social events and all of that, right? Now, and what I do see is that people who are usually optimistic about life, who are always jolly and just like thinking about the bright side, may at this point be required to, rethink their stance about life and things. And all of a sudden now, they feel like they're not sure about what they know, their own knowledge, they're not sure about their own skills, they're not sure if they want to go there, and now all of a sudden they have to learn new skills to adapt in the new economy that is coming, because things have started to change, and it is not by mistake. It is actually the planets. In my previous predictions, I predicted so many things that have already happened. I predicted that at the beginning of this year there would be a lot of engagements, a lot of commitment, and of course we've seen this. Obviously we always look at the celebrities, because these are the people that are we can have a common understanding when it comes to predictions, right? We saw this, a lot of celebrities getting engaged, a lot of people getting engaged here and here, married here and here, like just everyone, right? And I predicted this last year, and I said it would happen at the beginning of the year. And I also spoke about the health of pleasurable things as Saturn gets into Pisces. And of course we see this, pleasure things are being halted by that Saturnian energy. I spoke about how authority would be challenged by some people, and we're seeing that happening with the luxury goods and all of those things in China and the US, all of these things, right? They will always happen, because the transits of the planets are very important to see what is going to happen in our lives individually and on a global level. Now, when it comes to the structures and the lifestyles that we know of, they're going to change. and they're going to change for a very long time. I would say up until, what is the year now, 2025, up until 2033, they will keep rolling out into changes. Our lifestyles as we know them, they're going to change. Now this is the beginning of those changes in terms of our lifestyle, and mostly it's going to affect our families as well. The family structure as we know it right now or before, it's going to change radically. There is going to be a lot of changes in family dynamics, family relationships, and family structures. And these changes are going to be introduced to us or forced upon us, in suddenly, whereby, even the resistance, because there will be a resistance from people, there will be a resistance from families, there will be high resistance, but they are going to be forced upon us right now. That force is going to actually be requiring a lot of effort. So authoritative figures who are forcing some changes within our families, or even if in your relationship there's an authority figure who is trying to introduce new changes within the family structure, because those things will happen. If it's a father figure and they're gonna try to introduce this new thing that now the family has to follow, or the rule. And when we're talking about the global perspective, the government is going to introduce these rules that families, as a collective must follow, and there will be a resistance. There will be a hard resistance. So that implementation is going to be difficult, because there will be, as I say, the resistance and all of that, because most people, most families or family structures are already fixed or will like to be fixed in what they want. But this change will take place, particularly once Saturn moves into Aries. We will see now a whole lot of, what these authoritative figures, from the government level up to our families, are trying to introduce. So, and at that time when Saturn gets into Aries in 2028, then there will be less resistance. There will be less rebellion from people, because then the structures would fall, the structures of tradition would fall at this time, and these new things and this new lifestyle will be like the new norm, so to speak. But this also impacts how we view the beauty industry. So obviously I'm mentioning this because one of the love lovers mentioned it. When it comes to the beauty industry, the cosmetic industry, and how we view beauty and how we view cosmetic, it's going to continue and evolve radically. When I say radically, I really mean radically. And anything that is of material attached, to beauty, to cosmetics, it's going to change as well in a radical form. And for the time that Saturn is in Pisces, we are going to see the implementations of these things coming in slowly, because Saturn in Pisces is dissolving all the illusions, is dissolving all the dreamy things, all the cloud, taking out the illusion and bringing out practicality, reality, and all of these things. So This is why we're seeing, the luxury industry falling down, not falling down, but being exposed and being challenged. It is that certain there, because this is where Venus gets exalted. We must remember that. And certain here does not like fakeness, does not like, the like, it loves quality things and not the idea of quality things. It likes to have it, to touch it, and not have the perspective, like the cloudy, dreamy notion that the Pisces energy, introduces. So now with this practicality, there will be obviously a lifestyle that is going to be introduced, as I keep saying, and it's going to affect the beauty industry as well. The makeup industry is going to affect, even like the foods that people eat. And there will be a restriction in the food supply. This is important, because the restriction that is going to be experienced by people is going to be happening suddenly, and with the resistance, it's still going to be implemented. So we're going to experience this, we're going to see these things happening. Now, when it comes to the good month, so to speak, or the months, to take action, if you really want to take an impactful action, because it's better to act before you are forced to act, right? It's like your parents. If your parents tell you to wash the dishes and you don't feel like you want to wash the dishes, but then if you yourself you choose to wash the dishes before they even say a word, then you enjoy that activity. Same thing with this one. A whole lot of innovation is going to be required from you. So if you have your business in cosmetics, introduce innovative ways or new things yourself. Introduce something that is different yourself before the planets force you to introduce that. And July becomes very important, July of 2025, for reconsidering maybe your products that you have, or the products that you use, as a user, as a consumer of these things, even your food. At this time, you need to try to find new ways of how to develop your own food, or how to maintain your food, or stuff like that. So be proactive before you are forced to adopt these new structures and new changes that are going to be introduced to us. And of course, when we are talking about other months, then I would also recommend the 2 weeks in October, the first 2 weeks in October. I would also recommend some weeks in January next year, and the first week of February. That would be a good one as well. And the thing is that these changes that are going to be introduced, they're going to shock a lot of people. Like, it's going to be like a shock thing, right? Like a shock value type of a vibe. And with some people, they're not even going to have enough time to react or to resist, and they find themselves having to deal with it, to deal with whatever card that they are dealt with, right? So I do see those new belief systems coming in, also including how people publish their things, or their books, or their communication. And so there will be like some sort of a new form of platform whereby it's allowing people to send their messages, or to speak, or to communicate. So I do see that high tech that is going to come out for sure that a lot of people are going to use to, I would say, publish or, write or communicate or, stuff like this. I also see a lot of misplacement of children. So it could be, children who are orphans finding new homes, or adoption. There's a rise in adoption, and we're hearing from the news that, they so and so adopted a child, or this whatever, or news relating to adopted children, whereby there are things that are experienced by the children, but there is going to be a lot of news relating to adoption, of orphans, orphanage, so we're going to see this for sure. And there will be a lot of people who are forced to cancel their travels. It's so funny because I also predicted that there would be a lot of moving of people, and after that, Donald Trump then announced that they would be deporting people, and people really were being or are still being deported, from one country to another country. I also predicted that. So I do see here that there will be a lot of people who are wanting to go to foreign places, to go to foreign lands, but aren't able to, and are forced to explore their local areas, like where they are. So instead of you traveling to Dubai, for example, now you opt to go to New York if you are in Los Angeles, or you opt to go to Lyon if you are in Paris, or you opt to go to Cape Town if you are in Johannesburg. So there will be a lot of that restriction now, whereby you have to be flexible within your local area or your local country, or and not think to go way too far. I also see that there will be a lot of commuting. Like, people commute. Obviously now people commute, normally they go to work, they go and do grocery shopping, but there will be a high commuting now, that moving up and down. There could also be some improvements or added transportation, public transportation. So we could see innovation regarding transportation as well at this time, or something relating to transportation that is being changed. And maybe they are adding some functionalities that are going to be to make a voyage and travel more comfortable. So we're going to see that, or maybe solid and stable, bringing that stability into the factor, right? But this is going to show more when it comes to transportations and all of these things. This is going to show more in the third stage, when things are starting to build up again, to be okay again, of this transit of Jupiter. I do see, what else do I see? I do see, obviously, the unconventionality that is going to be introduced in the families, as I said, right? But the thing is that even with the misplacement of children and orphans, there will be debate about this thing. There will be debate. It's like for some reason, people will want to talk about it more, or maybe debate it and introduce their belief systems of what they think is right and what not, and this and that, right? And at the same time, when it comes to this theme of children and misplacing children or adopting children or taking one child to another place and all of these things, right? There could also be some experiments that are made, regarding children. And these experiments could be, done or, under the guise of marriage, whereby maybe, I don't know which example to give, or maybe like a certain family, a couple, they adopt a child, but not really to love the child, but to experiment, to see how it feels to have a child, like for some curiosity, for a reason of curiosity, instead of like a real love, right? Or real nourishment, right? So there will be that, it will be about just, fulfilling the desires, or I wish I could, mother a child, or let's just take a child, or let's adopt a child, oh, I wish I could. So it will be about the fulfillment of desires rather than the actual need of nurturing. It's just going to be about fulfilling your curiosity, your wishes, and all of these things, right? So yeah, this part is a bit darkish, and I do see that many people will have the sense of wanting to be free, wanting to be free from their relationships, wanting to be free from commitments, wanting to be free from structures that are binding them down. As I said, the beginning of the year was about marriage, was about engagement. And now once Jupiter gets in this sign of Gemini, there will be a lot of breakups. There will be a lot of divorces. There will be a lot of, experimenting with third parties, experimenting with, people who are different from you, people whom you never thought you'd be, interested in, whereby you find a straight man experimenting with other men. Those are the themes that are going to be experienced once Jupiter enters into Gemini. And this is where you're going to see that breakdown of structures of personalities, structures of statuses in our society. We're going to see this. We're going to see people wanting to be by themselves as well, like just to be free from a relationship. Take your time. You want to learn, you want to hone your skills, you want to open up a business, because there are people who are going to want to open up businesses right now. And whoever opens up a business after Jupiter gets into Gemini, they are highly likely to make a whole lot of money. But they would be using shortcuts at this time. That Jupiterian energy is going to, the Gemini is going to want to make people take shortcuts. So people will be looking for the shortest way to make money, the shortest way to have my business be recognized, the shortest way to have many clients. So we're going to see so many shortcuts, like shady deals, shady ways of doing things in order to achieve as quickly as possible. Remember, Gemini, as quickly as possible. If you are learning something, a new skill, you're gonna use shortcuts. Maybe you use a software to write the answers for you, and you get to pass. There's going to be a heightened thing like this. And Obviously, as I said, relationships, people want to explore outside, want to, have, threesomes, wants to have foursomes, whatever. They want to have, entanglements. They want to have friends with benefits, not necessarily, marriage anymore. So we're going to see this. And so when it comes to the timing, I do see that in June there will be a critical time whereby many relationships will be tested, and there will be some news of people breaking up at this time. Sometime also in August, we're seeing this mid-September. I'm seeing this first week of October. I'm seeing divorces increasing, actually, particularly in October. I don't know, maybe if it's going to be, the winter starting to come in the West. But I do see some divorces at this time. I definitely see some cheating and infidelity in November, and also in January, some few days or few weeks in January. And in January, things are going to I would say January, February or so, there's going to be this need of having power over our partners, or having power over, our business partners if it's business, or, having powers over the people that we rule over. So there is going to be this huge fighting of power in your stance, around January, February. So we're going to see this. So these are the months that are really, are quite tough. But of course, remember, it's always depending on the ascendant and on your chart, because even if now I talk about an ascendant, your chart is still the definer, because you have your own planets in your chart, and who could be, working against whatever transit, and therefore are keeping you safe. So everything depends on your individual chart, definitely. So what we do here, we just talk globally, and in summary, regarding the predictions, right? So now let's get into the highlights for each ascendant. As I said, it's going to be just highlights, and on the monthly predictions, I am going to give you all the details that will happen right. So for the Aries ascendant, right, the highlight of this transit, because remember it's just a highlight, come back for the monthly one to get the whole picture. But the highlight for you is definitely around relationships and friendships. This Jupiter is asking you to learn to adapt to how your friends relate to you, how you relate to your friends. Don't be the bigger person all the time. Also learn from your friends at this time. Also take, counsel from your friends. Yes, at this time you could also meet friends that could be very different from you, with a tainting mind or dirty mind, so to speak, right? Or even the partner that you meet could be different from you, or could have a personality that is shunned upon, or people don't necessarily enjoy, whereby people could be like talking like, oh my god, why did he choose her, everybody has been with her, or why did she choose him, he's the guy of the town, everybody knows him, those type of things, are the types of people that you're going to meet right now. But remember, your role right now with this Jupiter, it is to learn how to, maneuver around such situations, which in most cases for you could find that they are lower than your standards, or not meeting your standards per se. Or even maybe if you decide to cheat, or to have a third party, that could also obviously be beneath you, not necessarily what you want, but these are the themes that you could be facing at this time. Now, it also applies to how you could be relating with your business and your clients, whereby you want to take shortcuts at this time, whereby you want to do things underhand, under the table, so to speak. So these are the things that you could be facing right now. So obviously just use your wisdom, your wise mind, to make the right decisions that will not bite you once these transits have turned around. Right. Oh, by the way, and your communication as well obviously has to be more friendly now. You have to give counsel to your friends, of course, and your partner, but be able to listen now. Listen, third house, listen and take advice as well. Right. Now, when it comes to Taurus, Taurus, for you, Jupiter is going to be in your second house, and here, everything about you is about status now, is about your money, is about your work, your job, the relationships that you have with your colleagues, with your boss, with your family. This is where your whole focus is with this Jupiter. And of course, you have to come back and see the monthly transits to see the whole story, right? But I do see that there will be some sort of a role that you have to take when it comes to your family now, whereby everybody's going to come and look up to you, get advices from you for some reason, and you will be required, of course, to be approachable in your speech, be approachable in what you say, in your advices, and also when it comes to the money, because you could have money coming in to you right now through the family, and it would be wise that you look after the smaller or younger people in your family and help them at this time, because they could also be having good advices or good things to give to you at this time. I do see some improvement and scandal at the same time in your workplace. So there could be some improvement in terms of wanting a job, or aiming for the job and all of these things, or promotion, but there will be a scandal. I do see a scandal, and I do see some of you having some infidelity at the workplace right now, or your partner having some sort of infidelity, some sort of scandal. If it's not infidelity, I always try to talk about relationships, but if it's not infidelity, it could be like a scandal relating about their opinions and their views and how they want to do things, and maybe you want to do things in a different way, whereby you want to take shortcuts, or whereby you can have more advantage than the other one. So I do see that, so be careful about that. And you could be using your speech, obviously, as I said, maybe to promote yourself within that sphere, within your colleagues, your boss, and all of these things, but use a friendly approach in order to win this one. Okay, if you're going to be oh, look at me, I know it all, then it's not gonna work out. So you need now to use your charm in your words, be friendly, be approachable, accessible, and all of these things, right? Right. And I do see that your traditions and how you view family could at this time change. Maybe there's a birth in your family, some family member, a new family member comes in. So these, like, was a maybe there's an adopted kid, or you have another kid, from a different person, like who's from your origin, different race, different culture, different all of these things. So I could see that. But when it comes to adding those kids or that child, there could be obviously some conflict that could arise. It could be conflict, maybe it's conflicting with your schedule of work, or even maybe with the family. So there could be something like that. But I do see some sort of thing like that relating to family, or adding a family member, or maybe a cousin has a child or stuff like that, right? Now, when it comes to the Gemini sign, this is going to be happening on your first ascendant. Of course, ascendant, right? On your first house, ascendant. So the theme for you that I see right now, or with this Jupiter, it is about children and about learning. So everything that Jupiter is bringing to you is kids or learning, so you could also be learning with your kids, or learning to take care of a kid, or learning lessons around children, or how to nurture children the right way. And with some cases you could also be introducing some new ways or new themes to your kids, new ways of doing things to your kids. If there was a certain structure, now you're coming in with a new method of how maybe to cook, or something different. That's what I'm seeing here. And you could also maybe even change the schooling system altogether, whereby now your kids, maybe they have to go to boarding school, and something like this, right? Or maybe go to another city, another country to learn. All right, I do see that. And this could also apply to your own learning as well, whereby now you are starting to learn things totally different from what you usually learn, or research and stuff like that. So maybe now you start to go deeper into the occult, or you learn a darker side of life, or these are the themes. Or even if it's about relationships, you could also be experimenting with partners now, experimenting with foreign partners in particular, or trying to test ground, so to speak. If you've been dating a certain criteria of people, now you change around. But for you, it would be just dating, because it wouldn't be necessarily to marry. For you, I see a lot of dating, lot of variety, lot of exploring different partners, or like as in partners different from you, partners who are different from you, when it comes to the origin, right? I do see that you will seek some freedom. So I don't see you wanting to settle down. I do see you wanting to have your freedom, to maintain your space, and your just your capacity to move around. But definitely there would be some suitable contenders coming in, partners. And so yeah. When it comes to Cancer, your highlights, remember these are just highlights, can come back for their monthly transit to see the whole story. So their Jupiter is transiting in your 12th house, right? And for you, when it comes to your theme, like the highlight of this theme is basically just discovery. So there's a searching that you need to do. So when it comes to those stages that I spoke about, for you, the first stage is going to be highly critical. It's going to be demanding of you. There is a searching that you're going to do. So maybe you're wanting to search about yourself, who you are, know yourself, like from a deeper level point of view, or know like the intimate people around you, like deeply know them. Or it could also be a spiritual searching, whereby you're searching for answers, you are praying all the time, you're doing things in your house to get answers, consulting maybe your ancestors, God, spiritual beings. So I see a whole lot of this searching for you. And some of the avenues or things that you could be searching from could be a bit taboo, could be a bit raising eyebrows, whereby people are shocked maybe to find out that you are meditating, or you're doing this and you're doing that, right? I do see that. There could also be some concern regarding family. So maybe it could be maybe your in-laws, something relating to your in-laws, whereby there's a secret. I do see secrets here, quite taboo secrets, coming into play. So your Cancer, that's the highlight.
Now, when it comes to the Leo ascendant, so Jupiter will be transiting in your 11th house, and relationships and friendships are definitely highlighted at this time. Jupiter is going to be requiring you definitely to, bring your A game to your relationships in terms of intimacy, like spouse, or just friendships in general, and how you connect with other people around you. So there would be obviously a chance for you to get a spouse that is unconventional, highly unconventional, or even things about your marriage or relationship would be unconventional at this time. There could be scandals that come up, so watch out for that. And you ought to obviously gain, as well, in terms of materialistic gains, and have your desires and your wishes be, realized at this time. So your spouse, your friends, they can help you realize your dreams, and vice versa, you them, right? So that is another angle that is coming. Of course, there could be some weird conversations that you need to have, or conversations that leave a stain at this time. But these would be done, in order to obviously teach you a lesson, or for you to learn, or you to give a lesson to those who are around you, right? So those are the highlights. And of course, come back for the monthly transit to get the whole picture in terms of the other planetary alignments as well, right? So when it comes to the Virgo ascendant, this is going to be happening in your 10th house, right? Jupiter is transiting here. Basically, what is happening for you, everything relating to your work, to your wealth, and to how you make your profession and your status give money to your bank, right? Or to your family, towards your family. So here there could be, some sort of, um, sacrifice that you have to see. So maybe you see less of your family, because now, the workload has gone up. You've got a new job, you've got a new promotion, you're winning in terms of professional life, and therefore you're seeing less and less of your family, or you have less time for your family. And due to this, there could also be, some complaints that are coming maybe from your friend, from your family, whereby they feel like, oh my gosh, you don't see us anymore. You don't have enough time for us anymore, right? Due to that transit of Jupiter, increasing your workload, increasing your professional status, increasing your professional visibility, right? But there would be scandals around, your status, your work, and these, of course, would be, maybe in terms of how you do your work, in terms like how you approach your work or your public image and all of these things, right? So that's going to be visible. And, whoever has to say something around your childhood or family, or even relating to your money, to your bank, so there could be some scandal there, maybe mismanagement of the money or something like that, right? So watch out for that. But really, for you, job, work, profession, also money, also a bit of scandal here and there regarding these areas, family. So just watch for that. Then this is the highlight for you for this transit of Jupiter. And for the monthly transits, you're going to have to come back to get the whole picture for each month. Yes. Now, when it comes to the Libra ascendant, so Jupiter is transiting your ninth house. And here, for you, relationships with, teachers, your mentors, traveling as well is on the cards for you. Relationship with your children or children related activities, learning, definitely it's on the cards for you. You might feel like you want to learn something now, something that you not accustomed to, something out of the ordinary. And sometimes you could also be annoyed, by the choices that you make in terms of what you learn. And you could also be annoyed by, the advices that you receive from your mentors, from your counselors, and want to challenge them and want to, argue against them, right? Or find them irrelevant or childish or find their advices outdated. You could find that at this time. But the lesson here is to, learn how to be taught as well, learn how to be advised as well, right? Learn how to, accept other people's belief systems and methods of learning and teaching. So for you, this is a new ground, obviously, when it comes to those things. But then the Jupiter here is requiring you to be adaptable to such things, to be flexible, to receive, such new ways of doing things, new ways of learning, new ways of traveling, new ways of voyaging, exploring, other avenues. There could obviously be intimacy that is going to come up for you, intimacy that is fleeting. So you have to watch out for this, because it may seem too good to be true, and most of the time it would be too good to be true. So you have to watch out for any intimacy connections that you make at this time. Have fun. Not like, don't think it's going to last for a long time. If there's marriage, just have time, take it easy, and wait until this transit is out of the boundary. Because with this Jupiter here in Gemini, there would be a lot of exploring in terms of partners, in terms of romance. But most of the time, these are the romances that would end, or which you would then later on find, something, a red flag in the partner, a red flag in the person that you're seeing. So there would be a lot of, coverage of the people that you meet, and them for you too. They would, take you in a certain way which you're not, and later find out that you're actually a different person. So there is a high chance for Libras to experience this thing at the time. So this is the highlight, and of course I will go into detail with time and the monthly predictions. But for now, this is just the highlight regarding the Jupiter in your ninth house. Yes, sir. So when it comes to the Scorpio, this will be happening. Jupiter will be transiting your eighth house, right, of Gemini. And for you, there will be a lot of experimenting sexually, and there will be a lot of curiosity sexually. There could be, if you married, you could feel, the urge to try new connection ways in terms of intimacy with your partner, new bedroom things, new bedroom roles, new bedroom activities, and which is, quite good, for that part of life to spice up your life, right? But at the same time, there could also be a need for freedom in terms of your partnerships, in terms of your marriage relationship, either you or your spouse, whereby they feel like they want to test, or explore out of the marriage, or explore beyond what the marriage is giving or what the relationship is giving. And it could be, like a one night stand thing, or something like that, right? But at the same time, there could be some scandals that are impacting your home life or your home in general. Maybe something relating to taxes, maybe you didn't pay your taxes relating to your house, your property, to your car notes, stuff like this, right? And then you need to sort that out, because then that would be the focus right now. And also there could be some sort of, spiritual experiences that you are having at this time. There are people who are so sensitive that they could experience out of the body type of experience, those vibes, right? So this is going to be heightened at this time. And there would be also some sort of, changes within your home due to this Jupiter. So there would be some changes. Maybe you change the furniture, you buy new furniture, or you even change your car, your home, something, right? So there would be that change that comes in here, whereby all of a sudden you want to bring in something that is unconventional within your house, right? And I do see a lot of communication around the marriage or the relationship, whereby you and your spouse, you have lots of talk. You talk about a lot of stuff, and even like about your sex life, about what you want. There will be open doors now when it comes to the communication about this thing. So do use that opportunity to fix this part. I do see a lot of opportunities to make money together as, a couple. And you could also, if you are single, you could also have, some ways, hidden ways to make money, hidden ways to accumulate your property, whereby you don't tell anyone. You just like, do your things privately, quietly, and maybe you have some stocks here and there, right? Everything is so hush hush, and obviously, which meets your natural vibe of being secretive. So these are avenues that are being opened up for you at this time, right? And you have to come back obviously for the monthly transit to get the whole picture, where I will be checking the aspects of each planet and just make a whole picture, a full picture for you, right. So now when it comes to the Sagittarius, this is happening in your seventh house, and it is your ascendant lord. And it is happening in your seventh house because now you're going to be required to work with your partner here, or with your partners if you have businesses and stuff like this. You need to now to be able to listen and receive their counsel as well, as much as you're giving it to them. You are going to be required to play the game now. Be playful, be flirtatious with your partner, like do the small things that maybe normally you wouldn't want to do. Be be at ease, be easy going, be at ease with your partner, be accessible to your partner and for your partner, right? And I do see a controversy. I do see a controversy regarding a friend, a certain friend that could be wanting to taint your relationship, or something relating to your relationship, or maybe there's a gossip about a friend saying something about your spouse, or your spouse saying something about their friend or your friends, or something like that, right? I do see that. And I will also be expecting Sagittarius to have a lot of endeavors at this time in terms of activities like projects, different projects, whereby they want to do different projects, do traveling from here to here, commuting from here to the city to that city, trying to connect, maybe for business, have connections here and there, networking, so I see a whole lot of that, like busyness, because at this time you're going to be amped up to put force towards, your competence, your skill set, and how you communicate as well. And at this time, the things that you say could be a bit controversial. So you need to be careful about what you say. Your communication could be a bit controversial and a bit more, strange for some people, or even your partner or your friends. But, this is just going to be one of those things that will happen, but it's going to be good opportunity if you and your partner want to start a project, or you yourself, you're single, you want to start a project, you want to venture into some sort of a business that is serving the community, right? So this is the best, whereby maybe if you are developing an app, this app is going to serve the community. It shouldn't be just about you, but it should be about the community in general, right? So I do see that. And this is the highlight for you. But for the whole picture, please come back for the monthly transit to see exactly the whole picture to this piece of Jupiter transiting in Gemini. Yes, yes, yes. And for the Capricorn, this is going to be taking place in your sixth house. And when it comes to you, Capis, right, with this Jupiter here, there's gonna be a lot of opportunities for work. If you want to change a job, you can change a job now. You will be having a lot of interviews and all of these things, right? But when it comes to relationships at work, and this is a great time to have, those cordial relationships now. So if you've been experiencing a lot of turbulence within your relationships at work, or, stuff like that, this is a best moment now to be able to have, conflicts resolved, to have, other voices be heard, your voice be heard by your colleagues hearing your voice as well. And even with your health at this time, lots of improvement. And even with your daily commuting routes, lots of improvements here. I do see that whatever you do regarding your work, it will increase your money. Money here is increasing, bank is increasing, family is increasing. There could be a new family member, there could be a birth of a child, there could be, maybe your brother gets married and now there's an additional member to the family. But I do see some conventionality coming in when it comes to the family dynamics and the relationship, right? And it would be beneficial for you. So whoever is coming into your family, or if you're giving birth, they would be beneficial to you at this time. I do see, however, a stain regarding your profession, whereby maybe your boss accuses you of doing something that you did not do, or maybe people are saying stuff about you that you did not do, or defining you about, in a way that you're not. So I do see that a bit of stain when it comes to your public image here. So it's not going to be a big deal, obviously, with the Jupiter being here, helping you clean up the image. Whatever scandal comes up, you'll be able to clean it up with this Jupiter here, but that is relating to this. And maybe there's a high chance also of having a relationship at work at this time, like a controversial relationship, or you saying something controversial at your in a public space, or to your boss, or you say something controversial that will taint your image or something like this, right? So just be careful about that. So that was the highlight, and of course you have to come back to get the whole picture when I do the monthly transit. Yes, yes, yes. Now, when it comes to the Aquarius, Aquarius, for you, this is a transit of Jupiter in your 5th house. I see babies. I see babies. So this is the best time to have a child, to give a child, to give birth and to plan a pregnancy. This is a good chance as well to get into activities that are relating to children or youth, children like people, whereby you could, learn stuff as well. Or maybe if you want to be a teacher, this could be a good time as well. I do see, though, just be careful. There could be obviously some sort of annoyance sometimes when it comes to the topic of relationship, of children. Maybe you find, in a certain activity of your child annoying you, or maybe too much commuting because of their sports. Now all of a sudden you have to be all over the place, from one sporting event to another sporting event, and you find this a bit difficult or annoying. But you're going to be empowered at this time. You're going to be at the highest point this time to literally achieve anything that you want. If there's one person out of all the 12 ascendants who is designed to achieve the highest desires, the highest goals, the highest relationship connections, it is you. But you will be having Ketu in your relationship. So what it means that, okay, I'm talking about the highlights, but for you, I can just quickly say this. When it comes to Ketu, you would be able to have long distance relationships successfully if you wanted, right? But when it comes to committing, you could also be committing to people who are coming from your past life, whereby maybe your ex comes back to you. This would be a good way, to commit. However, when it comes to the material part of life, material achievement of life, then you could, find yourself gaining a status in the community. That also could also be controversial sometimes, because you're going to be having a Rahu on your ascendant. But with Rahu multicond on the ascendant, you can be like literally invincible right now, whereby people who try to do anything to you, you're able to win against them. So of course I do see some controversial belief systems. I do see some sort of controversial ways of doing things, and which obviously the community or people or even your mentors could be complaining about, your teachers. Right, but this is the part of it. You're just going to be need to be a bit wise when it comes to your flirting, to your intimacy as well. Like, don't be too stagnant. You need now to think out of the box. You need now to think out of the norm when it comes to how you're dealing with people, how you're dealing with your children, how you're dealing with these such things, right? And yeah, so that's the highlight. And of course, with the monthly transit videos that I'm going to be making, I will give you exactly what is going to happen for each placement, like planet placement, right? I don't know why I'm stuttering so much when I'm doing your part. Ha, it's an omen anyway. Be it so, Aquarius. And when it comes to the Pisces ascendant, this is your Lord, right? And it's going to the fourth house. My. Wonderful, 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 wonderful placement here, because it means that for you, if you have desires for a comfort within your home, relationships going well within your family or with your family, this is the time to enhance that, the nurturing around your family, whereby you give to them and they give to you. You also receive at this time, not only give. Maybe you usually give to your family members, but at this time Jupiter is the one who's being hosted by the Mercurian. So the younger people within your family could be the ones who bring solutions for you. So you need to pay attention to that. Like, don't disregard what they say. You also now at this time could be experimenting with spiritual venues, and you could be experimenting with your bedroom life when it comes to relationship. And just take care there's no third parties or something like that, or if there is a third party, it would be a hidden agenda, which with the transit of Sun, then you would just need to make sure you're careful, because at that time secrets will be exposed. So whenever Sun is going to transit your 12th house at this time, the definitely, if you are having a third party, there would be exposed. I do see that highly strengthened position when it comes to your spirituality. Here with your spirituality, you could be experimenting new ways of how to practice. Maybe if you were a praying person, now you want to pray on the mountain instead of praying at home. Just pray in like different areas whereby it's not normal for you. This is how the energy would help you now. Obviously to also to take things easy. Yeah, take things easy, basically. So that is the highlight for the Pisces ascendant. And do come back for the monthly transit to get the whole picture, whereby I will be discussing in detail, predicting what is going to happen to you, looking at all the planets and their movements. Yes, yes, Pisces. Yes. On that note, everyone, thank you all for tuning in. Be into ciao and ciao and ciao.